Hi friends, bright ass light here. It's almost 8 p.m. It's the day before my trip. I'm about to get a spray tan. I've never gotten a spray tan before. Wish me luck. Oh my god, my eyes. I'm just gonna look this way. So Alyssa's beautiful spray tan girl is coming to my house to give me a spray tan. And do you see how wet I am? I put the ring light on just to give you a visual so that we can have a dramatic before and after. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm officially sun-kissed. I actually really like the way this looks already. I've never gotten a spray tan. Lauren made it so comfortable and very appealing. Like, I actually really enjoyed getting sprayed for my first time. But yeah, I'm like sun-kissed right now. Would show you a tan line, but don't want to scar you for life. This hasn't been washed off yet, but we did the express tan version, and I will pop her info right here. She was amazing. If you need a spray tan and you're from Long Island, go to Lauren. It is 11 p.m. now. I got it done at 8:30, so 9:30, 10:30, 11:30. I'm allowed to wash it off at 11:30, and it develops. We did like an express, I don't know my tan analogy. Now I'm just last minute packing. My flight leaves at 6 a.m. so I'm going to Christina's. I'm leaving around 12:30. I'm hoping to stay up all night long and then fall asleep on the plane. That's the plan. Will it happen? I don't know. I have melatonin, I have Xanax, I have Jesus, I have all my tools, and yeah, see you in Palm Beach. I just pulled up to Christina's apartment. Feeling okay. If this is the first time you're watching, last year I developed a fear of flying, and now I have to go on a plane. And I feel like I've done a lot of inner work and have a lot of tools for this flight, and I'm trying to replace my nerves with excitement because it's such a fine line between nervous and excited. And we have to leave here, I think, at 4 a.m. I don't know if I'm gonna go to sleep. Christina said she's going to sleep tonight. Sorry I'm so mellow, obviously. I go to bed at 9. Well, I get into bed at 9, usually, typically. And so the fact that I'm not sleeping right now is really strange. I already missed my boyfriend, but I'm excited for what this trip is going to hold. It's gonna be a magical trip, and I just have to get out of my own way. You know what I mean? If you're out there and you have a fear of flying, sometimes you just have to go through the fire and go through what you're afraid of to come out stronger on the other side. I hope to set that example today. I obviously have so much fear around uncertainty, but I'm choosing to embrace the uncertainty, and I'm really just praying and having faith that there won't be any turbulence, and that I keep just saying to myself, this is going to be the best flight of my life. This is going to be the most peaceful and amazing flight of my life. So wouldn't that be something to be excited for? Let's manifest it. All right, I'm gonna go in and I'll check back in a couple hours. Update, we made it to West Palm Beach. Oh.
Between 12 and 1.
Oh, excellent. We can't check into our Airbnb until 12
for like
or
3-4 hours.
So we need to get breakfast or lunch or something first.
That's fine.
Oh, there was a cute sign that said, welcome Tony Robbins people. I'm just hanging out in the airport. No one's really here. Baggage claim came like that. Flight was awesome. We'll update you on how I survived my own head. Yeah, so we can't check into the Airbnb until 12 or 1, which, whatever. We're just gonna go on an adventure. We're gonna look up where to go. I don't know how much Christina wants to be on camera this trip.
She was just like, I'll be on camera. I'm just hungry.
Yeah,
and I need coffee stat.
Let's do it. My hair hit Miami and said, nah, girl. So we sat down to eat at this restaurant, but for some reason I'm hungry for a big meal. I just want like a coffee. So we'll go to Starbucks after. We're killing. Let's Let's see.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like 3 or 4 hours. I brought my laptop. It's fine. We can watch a movie.
I'm like, I want to take a nap.
Yeah, that too. It's nap time. I still have melatonin in my system, so I'm feeling loopy.
Just a little bit.
Just a
That's
tad.
what you should eat. You should eat something.
Back for another check-in. Wow, look at that glow. Lauren killed this. Christina said my teeth look really white. Do we agree? Do we disagree? I think it's because there's more of a contrast. I'm not like so transparent. We're at our Airbnb. This is actually a huge house. Her friend who is staying here with his business partners, we're staying with other people. They booked this place, so it's like a huge house with a couple bedrooms. And then and then there's a pool out here. Surprisingly, the weather is kind of chilly today, which I don't hate it, but you know, New York has been freezing, so kind of want to get away from that, but it's okay. It's still so gorgeous and beautiful. We were able to check in here a little bit earlier, and we just like killed time at the airport. So yeah, that's it. Hi. Christina just went outside to sunbathe and take a little nap because we've had quite the morning. I wanted to just take a little bit of time to definitely come on here and just update you on my fear of flying, anxiety thing. Also bear with me because it's not so natural for me to be vulnerable, especially on the internet, so I'm just gonna kind of let it flow in the way it needs to. One of my most popular videos on YouTube is my Australia vlogs. That trip was so magical, and I live in New York, so a flight to Australia is 24 hours, but for us to get it a little cheaper, we took 3 separate planes. During this time, I was really excited to travel. Had no fears. Put me on the plane, get me there, I'm ready. That was my mentality. Ready to grow, ready to see the world. In total, I took 6 planes and traveled about 60 hours, estimate. A couple months after that, Christina and I took another trip to Florida, which I vlogged as well. I love travel vlogs. It just lights me up because I'm passionate about it and I feel like I'm exploring, I'm having fun. It meets a lot of my needs. The flight there, we experienced what I now know was an air pocket, which is just a sudden boop. And I've never felt that sensation before. And I feel like in that moment I locked eyes with another passenger and she looked at me like, we're going down. And I personally never did background education on physics, flying. I've always had this weird thing, almost not daily, but pretty much constantly. Whenever I'd see an airplane, I would just look at it and be like, how is no one freaking out over this? Because this is just insane that exists and that can work. And I don't understand it, but I've always like thought it was just so insane. And I just didn't understand how no one else thought it was so insane in natural conversation, in everyday conversation. Because I think we're just so used to it just being in the sky, just like the clouds are in the sky and the ocean is at the beach and the grass is on the ground. I feel like it's just so normal. But I've always had that weird thought about it. So flash forward, that was the first time I experienced an anxiety mixed with panic attack on a plane where my thoughts just spiraled, thinking like, holy crap, what if this is going down? And what if this isn't just turbulence? And what if something's wrong? And what if the engine exploded? I spiraled. Luckily, I was with my friend who was able to sense that I was feeling a little anxious because this was all happening in my head. It wasn't happening physically. It wasn't like she could see I was very tense and upset. But she literally took her headphones, put them on mine, and this was right after takeoff too, and played The Climb by Miley Cyrus, and that just calmed me so much. Once we landed, it was fine. I was just not really excited for the flight back, and then the flight back again was just very in my head. It was very hard to just be peaceful like so many other flights, like how I get on a train and I don't think about it, how I get in my car and I don't think about it. For some reason, I was just so in my head, palms clammy, just couldn't be a normal human. At that point, I already had another trip planned in a month from that trip. So that was a family trip that I had to go on, and same thing, could not just enjoy that flight. And I knew I just had to go on it and deal with it. But the flight home from that one, again from Florida, I could not function. I bought a sleeping pill that I took, was completely alert. It's just crazy how adrenaline can counteract the medications that you take sometimes. So what I wanted more than anything was to just fall asleep and wake up and be there. I mean, isn't that what we all want? That we could just turn it off and not have to face the reality. So since then, I took a vow to myself. I took a vow with God. I was like, please don't book me on any flights. Work related. Don't let anything come up that I really want to go to, that I have to take a flight for, because I don't feel prepared. I don't feel safe, and I don't feel like I can get control of my head. With that being said, when I traveled to Australia, which is the initial fun trip I went on, it was for a Tony Robbins event, and I am really passionate and I feel really connected to Tony Robbins and his teachings and his outlook on life, just his approach to personal development, and I feel really empowered by him. The stuff that went viral on the internet, don't always believe what you see, because, and also just know people are human and sometimes things don't get communicated correctly. So I just want to put that in there, because I was at that event of that weird viral Me Too movement thing, and I think that just because someone has a more ignorant view of something doesn't mean that you should just cancel them. It's more about educating them, which everybody, even the most intelligent people, can always expand and learn more. Side note. Anyways, I've had business mastery on my vision board since I first made a vision board. I didn't know how I was gonna do it because it's a huge investment. Long story short, the door opened where I could attend this event in a very blessed way. And I know that it was just part of my purpose to go, even though since that flight to Florida, a light switch turned on in me about fearing flying. So that's the best way to explain it. It felt like a light was switched on in my brain where it was like, you cannot do this. Danger, danger zone. Avoid it, never again. But my soul loves to travel. My soul immediately, if anyone asks, if you had all the money in the world and you didn't have to work again and all the cards were in your favor, blah, 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 what would you be doing? And the answer always instantly is travel the world. So I'm emotional because it was like my biggest light was not my biggest fear. And that's really, really, really hard to face, because you just feel helpless and you feel like, what the hell? Like, why could I do that my whole life? And then I have one instance and it completely shifts everything. Me being on my personal development journey, I knew that the mind is powerful, but like, you also can tell that mind to shut up and get on with it and move through uncomfortability and face your fears. And most of the time your fears are irrational. All easier said than done, right? If you have a fear of flying, you totally know. You could read all the statistics and it's just not enough. I really feel like it's a chemical shift in your brain, because I'm somebody who never understood fear of flying, and here it was presented to me and I had no control over it. If you have an irrational fear, I just want to let you know that I'm here with you. You're not alone. Even though people don't understand it, doesn't mean it's any less real. Some people are very compassionate about it, and I'm almost glad it was put into my path so that I'm able to understand what that feels like for people. Flash forward to today. I just said yes to the opportunity. I was scared shitless, but I was not gonna let my fear overcome my desires. Because the thing was, I sat with myself and I said, what scares me more? Going on the plane and doing it and doing what you love, or the fear of never living your life, a life unlived? What is more fearful? Which is not easy to come to the conclusion of, because it's like, oh, I gotta make myself really uncomfortable, because if I'm 90, let's say 100, if I'm 100 sitting on my rocking chair and looking back at my life, I probably would have said, why didn't you just do it? And people say that, and I don't want to be one of those people. I want to just try at least. I was gonna drive to Florida for this, but I know deep in my soul that we are so powerful beyond what we even are conscious of, and I'm not gonna let my mind take control of me. I've spoken to so many people who travel way more than I do, and I kind of just like picked their brain in preparation. It was kind of like, for me, you gotta master this because this is what you like to do, and you can't let one situation domino effect to the rest of your life. That would be living in the past every day and never progressing and always staying small, and that's not in alignment with who I am. So I took a year to just chill, not worry, not have the anxiety, and just be. But now the day was presented where you're gonna get on the plane. So I just want to preface and say that I didn't just say, I'm good, let's do this. No, this took a lot of preparation for me to even book my ticket. So the first thing that I did was I Googled how I overcame my fear of flying. One of the first articles that came up was this girl who travels for a living. She thought that the more she traveled, the less she would be fearful, but it was actually the opposite. She recommended this book called Cockpit Confidential, which is an excellent book. I purchased it immediately and started reading it. I actually never finished it, but what I read gave me enough leverage to understand facts, statistics, and preparation for what goes into flying. That's one of the biggest things that I realized, is that it's an out of control feeling, and sometimes a way to feel in control is to know what's going on in the vessel that you're in. The noises, the structure, the pilots, the training, all that. What is turbulence? What is an air pocket? How does the plane stay up? Why can't the plane go down? This book gives you those answers. So super calming. So that was super helpful to just gain more knowledge. Another thing I did was listen to podcasts. I have a funny story actually. I feel really connected to this girl who I consider my mentor, but she's like a virtual mentor. Catherine Zankina, she's Manifestation Babe on Instagram. On that second flight that I had to go to with my family to Florida, she went live on her Instagram, and as I was in the sky, through my ears was her doing a podcast on how she overcame fear of flying. It was a blessing that was sent to me, and it totally calmed me during that flight. That podcast was really, really amazing to listen to. Another thing I did was I created mantras for myself. I also watched a Robbins video on tips for flying if you are fearful, which I'll put right here. She recommends some amazing tips, such as counting down 3, 2, 1. The reason you count down is because there's no more to go, and it's able to psychologically reset your thinking patterns. You also create an anchor thought, which is you can't get to your destination without taking this plane. So your anchor thought would be something like, I'm so excited to get to my destination so I can do X, Y, and Z. That was super helpful to have prepared for this flight. Another thing I did with my therapist is my therapist recommended for me to get hypnotized, just put into a trance and just realize how safe I was. She used some of the facts from the book that I read, so it was really helpful in practicing that on the plane. So something that I brought to the plane was putting my 2 fingertips together, taking a deep inhale and a deep exhale, and letting go. This does something in your brain. I I don't know exactly what, but doing that helps relieve anxiety. Another thing I did was I prepped and I had other tools available, such as Xanax. I didn't take the Xanax, but I had it if I needed it. As I was boarding the plane today, I felt crazy anxiety come over me. I thought I was like ready to go. I felt very zen. We booked a 6 a.m. flight in hopes that I would pull an all-nighter and then sleep the entire plane ride. Unfortunately, like I said, when adrenaline is pumping, that doesn't go as planned. So I took 2 melatonin and couldn't fall asleep. Initially, I felt anxiety, took my deep breath, and I said, let's just go. You're here. You have to just go. I talked to my higher power. I talked to God. I talked to my angels. And I asked them for signs. And I asked God, send me a sign that everything's gonna be okay and I'm safe. And I asked for a rainbow and I just surrendered that. I got on the plane and I immediately put my headphones on and I just visualized a protective bubble of light over the plane, and I picture my angels with their hands under the plane as it goes into the sky. I tried to fall asleep. Obviously that didn't work, but I was still like very trancy and loopy, like from the melatonin. I put my headphones on and I had a song prepared that I discovered, and I'll put this song here. It's basically a repeating mantra saying, I release control and surrender to the flow of love that will heal me. And just having that over and over in my head, every time I had like an intrusive thought, I would just replay that. I would do the 3, 2, 1, I can't wait to get to business mastery. I would do my mantras, such as I'm in the safest place in the world right now, flying is safer than driving, that I'm on the best flight of my life. Like, that was a manifesting tool too. I'm so excited that I'm on the best flight of my life, the smoothest flight of my life, the safest flight of my life. Stuff like that, so that it doesn't take you down in emotion. I'm on the right path, things like this, to just switch the thinking. Anytime I have a negative thought, I say cancel, 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 and I immediately replace it. That is a practice. It's not automatic. Another thing I did that just made me feel calm was when the pilot introduced himself. He said his name was Pilot Craig. So I would just send prayers to Pilot Craig. Thank you for Pilot Craig. Pilot Craig knows what he's doing. I'm so thankful that Pilot Craig is so educated and keeps up with all of his pilot duties, that he is so skilled and able to bring this flight to its destination safely. So I was just saying so many gratitude prayers for him. And actually, when we landed safely, I was walking out and I high-fived him and I was like, you did that. And it was really funny. So like I said, I also asked for a sign, and as I had my head down, Christina tapped me on my back and she was like, will it make you feel better to look out the window? And I was like, I would like to look at the window. She's like, you just have to see this. I look, the sky was a rainbow. Like, the sky was a rainbow. There wasn't a rainbow in the sky was a rainbow. In that moment, because I got my sign, I felt immediate peace and release, and I just chose in that moment to get rid of all of the fear and have a peaceful rest of the ride. And I was able to. And that might not be the same case for everybody, but I want to share what worked for me, because if you can implement some little tools or get a little inkling that may work better than before, I would like to share that. I think those tools are really helpful. This is my first flight since having travel anxiety, so I don't want to say much more than that, as I'm not a doctor, psychologist, etc. I also do want to mention that I brought this up in therapy on the weekly, so that helped me prep as well. If you feel called to do that, if that's a tool that you are open to, I would suggest that as well. And then also just meditating, manifesting, visualizing the best possible outcome that could have happened. And I made it here safe. I have an amazing friend who was like, you should be really proud of yourself. I have incredible support that when I landed, I got amazing people texting me, and making sure I was okay, and that feels really amazing. So I just want to say thank you to my friends, my family who cared. And do I have anything else to add? I don't know. I feel like you're gonna take your own lessons from what I've said, whether it's living through your fear anyway, staring your fear in the face and just saying, I'm bigger than you, not letting it overcome your entire life, whether you got a new tool today. That's all I want to share with you. If I forgot anything, I'll put it in the description box, even though I barely write anything in the description box. That's what I wanted to share with you today, that I did it. I have one more flight to overcome again, and I think it'll be fine. I think my biggest fear was not the takeoff, not the landing, but just the uncertainty of the turbulence. And for this one, there was a little, like, you know, little, almost like how you're driving, what it feels like when you're driving, if you close your eyes and you're driving. And as that was happening, I just said to myself, oh, turbulence, we're going through some clouds. That's just what I immediately went to. Oh, okay, we're just going through some clouds. And then I would say, good thing this is the best flight of my life, where there's no turbulence. Like, I would just direct my mind to something better, to not fall in that panic mode, because that panic mode, once you're in it, oh dude, it is so hard to get out of. And it feels like you've ran a marathon of emotions, and you just feel like so drained and crashed, and it's just not good on your body to put yourself through that much stress. But other than that, another great tool that worked for me was just keeping my eyes shut and visualizing as if I was on a train. Like, I wouldn't be on a train freaking out in the same way that I am on a plane. So I think that's it for now. I'm excited for tomorrow, but I feel really intimidated because I just feel like I don't really have a business yet, but I've always been fascinated with it, and know that it's something that I want for myself. I think me, just as a makeup artist, as I'm expanding in everything that I want to do in life, like, I'm my own brand, and that's just the way it is these days, I feel like. And I want to harness that, and I want to be smart about it, and I just want to learn. I love learning. I want to keep learning. I want to progress and expand in what I'm doing, and hopefully create something bigger than what's happening now. And I don't know, just I always felt like I'm gonna make something big in the world, but I want to know how to. It's almost like you're gonna have a baby, but you need to know how to hold the baby, and what the baby eats, and like how it's gonna grow in a healthy way. So that's kind of my mentality with creating a business. I don't know what the business is gonna be. I just know that it's kind of inevitable to have a business, and just learn the tools from someone I admire so much, and even other incredible speakers that will be there. And I just can't wait to be inspired by other creators who went for it. I want to go for it, and however that is led to me. Okay, I think I'm done. See you later.